Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to go over copper, diversified miners, some home builders, and a couple of commodities. These look like they are taking off. They're doing very good. They look very good in the short term, very strong. I would be a buyer here if you guys are looking at these sectors. So I wanted to cover them, get them in front of your face. You guys can do whatever you want with them. I'm going to first start with a couple of commodities. So let's jump into it real quick. We've got lumber. Lumber is taking off here. Everyone said, you know, lumber's great. It's a leading indicator of the economy. It was killing it. It was basically a huge short squeeze. And then we came back and did a retest move. And then on that retest move, it seemed to have faked everyone out. Everyone believed that the economy's done. Lumber's in the trash. It's getting smoked. They were even using lumber as an indicator of the economy, and all it was is it's just we had a huge breakout, and then we had some supply come back on, and it came back down, and now we are moving back on higher. It's moving on up. It is a breakout, and it's continuing to perform quite well. So on the 6 month, we've broken out of this pattern. It's moving to the upside. Everything's intact. Because we have an expansionary phase of real estate where it's going to drive lumber prices higher on a long, sustaining basis for the next 5 to 10 years. That's the fact. Now here's copper. When looking at copper, copper's taken off this morning. It's firming up. It looks like it's breaking to the upside. Our diversified mining companies, a lot of them have copper in it. So copper's moving up. We're probably going to be pretty strong here. Nickel's moving up. Palladium's moving up. Everything's moving up. The inflation is here. It is coming. So let's look at some investments, some potential investments. So Vale, which is a large diversified mining company, they pay an 8.5% dividend. Right here, very good value down here at $13.39. Let me zoom in here. We were coming up on the big picture view on its last resistance line. We bounced our head on it, came back down. Iron was pretty weak, iron ore. And they're our large iron ore company. We had a big downtrend. We broke that downtrend. We squared it up, and now we're breaking to the upside. This is a low-risk entry point if you guys are interested. 8.5% dividend. Everything's looking good. This is COPX. We're coming down in this descending wedge pattern. We are going to break this pattern to the upside here any second. Probably today is the day that we're going to break it to the upside. Yesterday it was flirting with it, and we're probably going to move on up and close above it, breaking this pattern. So you're going to see a breakout here for COPX to the upside, in my opinion. Rio Tinto, it is stopped moving down. It's creating a base, and it's about to move on up. I would say down here is a good spot to be looking at it for Rio Tinto. They're paying 11% dividend, and they're back testing or retesting on a very large pattern on the big long term. So this is a good spot for Rio, RIO. BHP also doing a retest. It's contracted down in the opening and closing prices of the candlesticks. It's bouncing along its support line. Another one to look at, it's got almost an 11% dividend. Again, if you guys need dividend, these would be the good ones that I'd be looking at for the long-term inflationary cycle. Glencore, another, I'd say, major copper company, but they do a lot of other things as well. It's back, broke out, came back, and it's at its support line. A big break on the support line. I like buying on these things. It pays a dividend of 3%. Let them pay you. I mean, if you're going to have these companies pay you a bunch of dividends, why not venture into some of them? They're diversified by nature. They're diversified across a bunch of different commodities, so that's good. This one's Norilsk Nickel. It's got a pullback fanning pattern that we're going through. We're at kind of the bottom of the fanning pattern. We've got some support under here at 29 bucks. I think it's a good spot to be looking at it. Not almost a 10% dividend. It's a Russian company with PGM metals. When the PGM metals take off, this is going to take off with it. And it's got copper and some other diversified mining stuff. Tech Tech Cominco, this is Tech Resources, moving on up, broken out of its big long pattern to the upside. And it's kind of just moving sideways. It may even come back and tag support over time, but that also has, it's a 0.6% dividend, not as much as the other ones. Here's Freeport McMoran. This guy's broken out of its pattern to the upside. It's probably going to do a little bit of a return move. It may not because copper's firming up. But Freeport is another one that I would look at. It's got a 0.8% dividend, not as big as the other ones. Here's Southern Copper Corporation, SCCO. This one's pushed up against its support line. It's got a 5.44% dividend. I like it right here, right where it's at, grinding along its support line. When copper firms up, and it's firming up right now, this thing's going to probably move on higher. Here's Alphamin. Looking at Alphamin, this is a tin company. I probably wouldn't go into this one at this moment. Looks like it's getting a little bit toppy here. I haven't looked at the price of tin recently, but I'm probably not jumping that one yet. South 32, it's been grinding higher. It's quite a bit high. I don't know if I'd jump in that one either. It's good. I wouldn't sell it, that's for sure. It pays a 1.66% dividend. Here's Anglo-American Platinum. Anglo-American Platinum, still loading here. That's another big diversified mining company. They've got a lot of platinum group metals that they mine. It's another company that I would be looking at for a long-term hold, and it looks like it's ready to break here. Impala Platinum's another one that looks ready to break. They pay a 5.22% dividend for Anglo-American Platinum. It's right up on its support line. I'd say I would at least be taking a look at Anglo-American Platinum if you guys want some PGM exposure. Impala Platinum's the same way. It's up paying an 8.3% dividend. It's been grinding sideways. It's a palladium, platinum. Those PGM metals are really firming up, so that would be one I would at least look at if you want PGM exposure. PLG is kind of the high-risk play. It's coming. It looks like it's bottoming out here. So that'd be one I would look at if you want more of a high-risk development type play. Nova Royalty, this is a royalty company. It's way down here. Very good price right now. This is a copper nickel company for royalties. I own it. I added a little bit down here at $2.14 or so. I've been adding at this bottom in here, just cost averaging in, waiting for the day that it's going to explode higher. So this has a pattern. It's going to go to the upside because nickel and copper are moving on up. Looking at some of the, we'll call it Homebuilders. This is MDC Holdings. It's breaking out of its pattern to the upside on the short term, so that one looks good. It's got a huge pattern all the way back to 1990. It's been in this massive bull market, and it looks like it's putting in almost a cup and handle pattern, a continuation pattern here. So that's MDC Holdings, or ticker symbol MDC. HOV is Hovenen Enterprises, descending wedge pattern, breaking to the upside. This guy's a big boy. It ran in the COVID event $8 all the way to $150 in a matter of like a year. This thing is mucho strong. It's going to continue higher, I think. They build, I think, like apartments and stuff like that. It's broken out of its pattern to the upside here. So Hovenen's looking very strong for an entry point. LGI Homes, they build a lot of homes in the south, kind of Texas and some other areas. Big old uptrend channel that it's been moving. We're breaking the downtrend line here recently in the short term. There's your downtrend line breaking to the upside. So LGIH looks really good. And I don't really talk a lot about these. I do own them in one of the portfolios. I've just been holding on. I kind of accumulate things when they're cheap, knowing that I'm going to be holding them for 5 to 10 years because we're going to have this bull market in real estate. And I don't know, it seems like real estate's the most resistive bull market. It seems like people don't believe it. KB Homes has a little bit of an ascending wedge here. I can even kind of move this back down to here. So it's got a little bit more of an ascending wedge type pattern. Hopefully it breaks to the upside. So this one carries a little bit more risk with this pattern, but it looks good. It looks okay so far. I don't know if I'd buy this one. I'd probably buy some of the other ones. But that's what I've got for today. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more information real time on what things are doing. The diversified mining companies, if you guys like them, now's the time to be sprinkling. You should be cost averaging in, getting your shares. They're down. They're starting to show strength. And that's when I start loading in. So if that's what you guys want, it's up to you. And you want they're leveraged to the commodity price move. They're not as leveraged as some of the other ones, but I would consider them to be lower risk, well-paying, big dividend-paying companies, which will move with the commodity bull market. These will capture the moves. So it's a good risk-reward area and companies to be buying for this commodity bull market. If you guys like the channel, give me a thumbs up. If you like the content, if you like the channel, subscribe to it. Thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.